I know what stood out to me when I was listening to the readings. That woe part was kind of good, but I'll get to that. That idea of Jesus in the second reading, he's risen from the dead. And what we hear is, great is our reward in heaven, and Jesus is our example of that. Jesus gave his all. He left everything on the field, and he died, and now he's raised from the dead, and he has every blessing. Therefore, God has given him a name above every name, that at the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow, right? Every tongue confess. And so Jesus is our example that we too, who believe in him, have that same reward, that glory of God in heaven. I think tomorrow's Valentine's Day for those men who have forgotten. And so I'll tell a couple of stories about men and women who love each other. I think the first one I'll tell was going to be the last one. You know how we give blessings in church? This church didn't give blessings, but they did spontaneous prayers at one point in the service. And the one man during the spontaneous prayer time, his name was Bob, he was praying and he says, you know, for my wife and I, you know, it's our 37th anniversary. And his wife looked at him, you know, like, and he goes, it's our 38th anniversary. And so it was just a couple minutes later in the prayers, someone spoke out and said, I want to pray for Bob. Yeah, here's a good one. You know, Pat and Dwight are celebrating their 53rd wedding anniversary this week. If you don't know, you know the Thomases, Pat and Dwight. And so one day, Pat was stuck in the driveway in the snow, like on a day like today, but lots of snow. Dwight went out there to get her unstuck. I'm making this up. This isn't true. But we'll pretend it's true. And so he digs her out, and he's pushing the van back and forth and everything until he gets her out of the driveway, and she drives off. And then she calls him on her cell phone, and she said, he says, hello? She goes, oh, I just wanted to make sure you were there. When I was driving, I heard this weird sound under the van, and I thought maybe I had run you over. I thought maybe you were under the van. And he said, and you didn't stop? She called to see if he was okay. All right, enough of that, right? Let me tell you one of my favorite, kind of life wisdom stories. It comes out of China. It's an old story out of China, North China. And so there was this man in North China, and he had a beautiful, beautiful horse, probably the best horse in the territory. And people would come around just to see the horse. And they would say, you know, you are truly blessed. You have the best horse in the territory. And he says, you know, what seems like a blessing might be a curse. And the people, so then one day the horse ran away, and people kept saying to him, yeah, you're cursed. He said, I don't know, what seems like a curse could be a blessing. And then the horse later came back with like 27 other wild horses. And now he's got more horses than anyone in the whole territory. And people said to him, you know, you are really blessed. And he said, I don't know, it seems like a blessing might be a curse. And so his son's trying to break one of those wild horses, and he falls off and he breaks his leg. And people came to him and said, you're cursed. And he said, I don't know, what seems like a curse might be a blessing. And so a war broke out, and the generals came and drafted every able-bodied young man in the town except the son who had a broken leg. And the people said to him, and all the young men in the war died from that town. And from then on, the people of that town said, what seems like a curse might be a blessing, and what seems like a blessing might be a curse. That's what today's readings are all about. Cursed is the person, the man who puts his trust in other human beings. You might have all those people or all those things in this world, but what seems like a blessing might be a curse because it'll distract us from God. And the deepest center of a human being is their heart. And if your heart trusts in other people, you're cursed. If your heart trusts, and that word trust is just like allegiance or loyalty, believing in. If your heart believes in God and is loyal to God, you might be poor or anything else, but what seems like a curse is a blessing. You're truly blessed if you put all your trust in God. It's about our heart, that deepest part in us. And in the first reading, if your heart trusts in other people or if your heart trusts in God. So the question, the spiritual exercise we want to do today is to ask ourselves, where is the allegiance of my heart? What is it that my heart believes in and trusts in and gives all its hope to? My hope is in the Lord, right? So in the Old Testament, the most famous verse, Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one alone, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. Because if you love anything else with all your heart, you're going to end up not being blessed, but that blessing can turn to a curse. And so let's look at the gospel reading today. Jesus is doing kind of Luke's version of the Beatitudes. Instead of going up a mountain, he's down on the plain, and he only gives 4. And so it could have been another homily. He was given another sermon once, in the Gospel of Luke. But Luke knew that Jesus hung out with poor people. And so he doesn't say poor in spirit. He just says poor. Blessed are you poor, for yours is the kingdom of heaven. Now, God doesn't mean that there's something wrong with wealth. Some of Jesus' closest followers were wealthy followers, and they took care of him. So it's okay to be wealthy. What Jesus is saying is if you put your trust in wealth, wealth comes, wealth goes. Sometimes it's here and sometimes it's gone. You're going to be cursed if you put your trust in wealth. Put your trust in God alone. And he says, blessed are you who are hungry. If you're hungry, I should probably tell you that there's women in the back there selling cakes and cookies. So blessed are you who are hungry. You have a bake sale. All right, is that a good enough announcement? Where's Maria? I want to make sure I got that in there. All right. So where are you going after Mass? Bake sale. This way. You don't go out that way. There's nothing there. This way. Just me. I'll be there. Avoid me. Go there. So, and if I preach too long, just get up and go get something if you need, if you start getting hungry. Yeah, anything. So anyways, blessed are you who are hungry, not because hunger is a blessing in and of itself, but people who put their trust in food or drink or the pleasures of this world, you're going to end up cursed. You're going to end up woe is you, because these pleasures, these things like food and drink, they come and they go. And we can't even remember what it tasted like, that beautiful meal I had an hour ago. Yeah, but if you put your trust in God, not in pleasures and food, then you're like that tree planted by the waters, by the stream, the source of life itself. You sink your roots deep into the very source of life itself, God, when you put your trust in God alone. And so then Jesus says, blessed are those, basically, who, what is it? It's not, the last ones when they hate you, weep. Blessed are you who weep. Well, weeping in and of itself isn't a blessing, but what he's saying is weeping is a feeling. You weep when you have feelings. And if all your hope is in your feelings, you're always trying to feel good, the whole world's like that, right? You just get addicted to everything, something to make you feel good, because feelings come and go. Just like everything else in this world comes and goes. Even the people we love the most come and go. I did a funeral yesterday for Larry Pillen. Oh my gosh. He's like the number one parishioner of Holy Redeemer. He's like the best person ever. And he's gone. He's gone to be home with the Lord, and we all feel this big hole in our heart. Those who don't know Larry, he was 70. He's kind of special needs. And if you want to know how to live your life, just say, what would Larry do? You know, because Larry always did that loving, forgiving, Christ-like thing. And so people who put their trust in feelings, always trying to feel good, they're just always drinking or doing some kind of drug or looking for some kind of new thing. Feelings come, feelings go. Put your hope, your trust in God alone. It's like putting your roots into that living source of life itself. And no matter whether the feelings are there or not, you're good, you're blessed, you're happy. Whether the food or the drink or the pleasures are there or not, you're good, you're happy, you're blessed. Whether people are thinking good things about you, blessed are those who are hated, right? Well, it's not particularly blessed to be hated, but what God's saying is, don't put your trust in other people thinking good things about you or some kind of honor or reputation, or when people speak good about you, when you're popular. Think about it in our world. The most popular people, are they like really morally sound, good people? No, they're like movie stars or something like that, and their lives are not blessed. And so don't be a people pleaser, but put all your trust in God alone, because people come and go. Popularity comes and goes. People feeling like they honor you, that comes and goes. You'll always have those who do and don't. Put your trust in God alone. You kind of get it? All the things of this world. Recently I bought a lotto ticket. I haven't even checked to see if I won. It's still on my refrigerator. But you know, money comes and goes. But we always can put our trust in God. What a better thing to have on our refrigerator. That's the teaching that Luke is giving and Jeremiah is giving. What seems like a blessing, you know, money, popularity, pleasures, the things of this world. Yeah, what seems like a blessing could be a curse. And what seems like a curse, being poor in spirit, being without that popularity, we can turn and we can put our whole focus on God and say, yeah, I don't have anything, but I got everything because I got God. I got the source of life itself. I have everything I want. In fact, if they can take it away from me, I don't want it. If it can't be taken away from me, that's the desire of my heart. God can't be taken away from me. So blessed is the person who puts all their heart on God alone. That's our faith. That really is the heart of it, the human heart, the deepest part of us. And what a wonderful faith we have.